What's up, guys? We're going to be talking about Carnival Row coming up next.
Up next. What's up, comic book fans? My name is Bruce Moreau.
And I am Stephanie.
And we're back, and we're here to talk Carnival Row, the new Amazon Prime show.
Amazing. An amazing show. You guys are going to want to hear about this.
Oh, she's getting into it right away, guys.
That's it. That's the whole review. You can turn it. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
All right, so we're talking Carnival Row because we were going to do Swamp Thing.
We were going to.
Going to. So Swamp Thing's been out for a few months now, and I think when I first brought Stephanie onto the channel, we mentioned that we were going to do The Boys, Swamp Thing, some other show. Time went by, life got crazy, we moved in, but we've watched 8 of the 10 episodes of Swamp Thing, and it is just not...
Garbage? Can we say garbage?
We could say garbage. And I guess I understand now why
got canceled.
the DC Universe decided, or Warner Brothers decided canceling the show because it is not very good. We have 2 episodes left and...
We're not watching them. We have other things to watch.
Yeah, it's sad because I did really like the actor who played Swamp Thing and the guy who was in the costume as Swamp Thing. I thought they were great actors, and the show just kind of fell apart around them. But we're not here to talk about Swamp Thing.
We're not?
No. We're talking about Carnival Row.
Carnival Row.
Carnival Row. Now this, from what I believe, is not based on a comic book. It might be based on a book. We didn't do any research, did we?
We don't need to. You guys just want to hear about what we think about the show.
All right, well...
I mean, the internet exists. You guys can do the research.
That's true. Look up on the internet. I'll leave something on screen if I can find out if it is based on a book or a comic book. But the reason why we are going to review it because it's kind of in the comic book genre. And it's fantasy, fiction, it's fairies, it's guys with horns on their heads that kind of look like manticore. Is that what they're called?
I don't know what they're called.
Bull guys. But... let's tell them what Carnival Row is about, briefly. Give them a brief rundown.
All right, so Carnival Row is basically like a fantasy world where humans exist, fairies exist, what Bruce described as the guys with the horns on their head, they call them pucks in the show. A whole bunch of different fairy and mythical creatures.
Too. There were centaurs.
There were centaurs, that's true, yes. There's a whole bunch of mythical creatures living in this world, and the worlds are at war with each other. The humans don't like the mythical creatures don't like the humans. It's all based on that world, but there's a lot more that goes into it. The main story is Orlando Bloom's character, Philo.
Yep.
And his love story with one of the fairies.
Clara Delevingne, and her character's name is... Vignette.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not set in current times. This is set back, what would you say, 1800s?
Oh yeah, it's before like electricity or...
yeah. No, there's electricity.
Did they?
In the houses, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. They do use torches and stuff when they're in like the fairy world.
Yeah.
I think the houses had...
Well, that's in like 1800s, right?
Yeah.
There was electricity back then. You can make fun of sound in the comments for not knowing when electricity was made. But it's set back before, the 1900s, and at least what we think is the 1900s. And
based on absolutely no research. You just heard that.
And it seems there's this group called the Pact, and they are hunting down all the mythical creatures and forcing them out of their lands. And so there's kind of like, I guess, New York City.
Yeah.
Kind of like Ellis Island type place where all these creatures are coming, and it feels, I forgot the name of the town already. The Berkshires? No, the Burg. It feels like Ellis Island type, or New York City, maybe in that time frame, because there's all these people forced into this one area, and there's immediate dislike for each other, but they're forced to live together.
Kind of very Gangs of New York time period.
Yeah.
Feel.
That's actually a very accurate description of what that time frame feels like. So yeah, that's kind of like what the show is about. But there is a lot more in this show once you start watching, because the trailer, did you watch the trailer?
I did. You sent me the trailer.
Yeah.
We watched the trailer. And
in the trailer, it definitely seems like this is going to be like a love story.
Yeah. And we watched the first episode, and Bruce was all like naysaying, like, oh it wasn't enough.
It was cheesy. That first episode was pretty cheesy.
And I was like, give it a chance. He's like, no, either it's going to be amazing or it's not.
I don't know. That first episode he
wasn't sold. He wasn't
not
sold on whether or not we should continue watching it.
But we did.
We did.
And we're very glad we did. How many episodes are we in?
We have watched 5 episodes. So there's 8 in total.
8 in total. So this is kind of like our halfway point. We actually were going to record last night before we watched episode 5, and we're like, you want to watch or record?
We wanted to watch. I would watch it right now if we could.
Yeah. So this kind of halfway review. We'll do another review once we wrap it up. But so let's talk about some of these. Well, I guess let's talk about what we like so far.
Okay. I liked almost all the episodes. The last episode we watched, I wasn't a huge fan of, but I really liked the story. I really like where they're going with it.
But what about the story?
So I like Philo and Vignette. Their love story I like a lot.
So the love story is there.
The love story is there. It's not the main story like you think it's going to be. It is a very big part of the story, but they're only in the love story like the first couple of episodes where they're... Not even really, because the first episode you don't know that they're together. They kind of tell their love story, like the 3rd episode, where they really go back and talk about their love story.
Yep.
But I really like them together. I like that even though these fairies and pucks and all these refugees are coming to this human world, it doesn't seem like any of them are taking crap. They're all pretty tough, and Vignette is like badass, and she's punching babies and like... she's going hard. She's not taking names even. She's slicing people down.
She's a pretty awesome character.
Yeah. So I really like that. I like that they're both strong individuals that come together, and their love story is good. I like that it's not over this top Hollywood fake, everything worked out perfectly love story.
Right.
So I enjoy that aspect of it. I like... Really, all the story, they did a really good job of separating a bunch of different worlds and then creating a different story for each one of them. So you have a lot of things to kind of follow. They have the whole story with these 2 rich kids that their father had died. I shouldn't say kids because they're like 18 and 20 or... Yeah,
I mean, they're probably 30-year-old actors or something, but
they're supposed to be younger.
Younger and not know the world very well. And
yes, Imogen and Ezra.
And Ezra ends up making let's do the whole spoiler. This is going to be a spoiler review, everyone. So I don't think
we've already told you too much. You hate us already.
I don't think we told you too much. I think we kind of like laid a good baseline. But now that moving forward, we're going to start naming characters' names and start talking about the world and what's happening. So spoiler review. If you want to turn it off now, it should be in the title. Spoiler review of.
We'll put it in all caps.
All caps.
You guys can't miss it.
But Ezra ends up making a bad investment because he invested in a ship going to
the fairy world.
The fairy world. I'll put a name up where that is. But and bringing fairies back, and the fairies need to work off their debt because they were saved, and so they have a debt when they come over, and they need to work that off. And so the person who brings them over gets all that money, and so the ship ends up capsizing and being destroyed in a storm, and so he loses all that money. So they're in debt and they're trouble. So that is a very interesting story.
Yeah. I really don't like them as a character, and not because they do a bad job playing their character. You're supposed to not like them. Yes. They're spoiled, they're stuck up, they're not very nice to all the mythical creatures that live on their home with them, or not in their home, but on their town with them. They're very rude to them. But they do a good job of being rude to them and making you hate them. And they end up being in such a bad way financially that they actually need the help from one of the mythical creatures who is a puck,
right?
Who's the guy with the horns?
Yep.
Who moves in
yes.
to their neighborhood and has a lot of money. Yeah. And he ends up helping them out in exchange for being accepted into his circle.
Right. So this character, this puck, I wish we wrote his name down. But the guy, he wants all he wants is to be accepted in society, which is a very, I guess it shouldn't be a strange thing, because even if you think back to the late 1800s, 1900s, that's what I'm sure a lot of minorities coming over from other countries going into New York wanted. They wanted acceptance. They just wanted to be accepted into the world and not have to deal with the hate and everything. And so this character, that's what he's doing. He's like, all right, I'll help you financially if you get me into these circles. You bring me to these parties. You're seen in public with me. And I thought that was really, really interesting.
And he does a good job. He does a really good job acting. I think his name is Argian, whatever the puck's name is. He does a good job of playing. He's very smart.
Very smart.
Very well put together. He's not
And he has human butlers and whatnot, where everyone else, like all the humans, have pucks or fays or someone else doing their work for them. Where
Fays is what they call the fairies. I don't know if you said that.
Yes, which I thought was also really cool. It's like, so he's so well off, he can hire these other people to work for him, like humans. And that's another. Well, I'm gonna take one step back and say what my favorite thing about this show.
I'm ready.
Is the layers. This show has so many layers. Like, I went into it thinking that this was going to be a really cool love story between a human and a mythical creature, a fae, who just seems like a fairy, kind of. And that was pretty much going to be it. And I am so delighted that this is so much more. We wrote down 6 different storylines that are happening within the show that you had no idea was happening in the trailer.
And it's only 5 episodes.
And we're only 5 episodes in. It is crazy what's going on with the show. So, like, we talked about the love story. The love story. We talked about Imogen and Ezra, the
Nope, they're not the Berkshires. They're the Spin Roses or Spin Rose. Something like that.
If we're wrong, we'll put it up on screen. There's that story. There's a story of Philo's character is a what's the name? He's a detective, basically, but they call it something else in the show. I forgot what it is.
Constables.
Well, no, because that's the regular police officers. But he's a detective, and there's murders happening, and so he's trying to find out who's killing them.
Well, they're only killing mythical creatures, not just.
No, they killed the.
Oh, they do end up killing a regular person. Yeah. But in the beginning, it's the one guy with the hammer that's killing all the fays or smashing all the fays.
Right.
That's how the detective work starts off. He starts off hunting down someone who's only killing fays.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. And because he meets that one girl who's all beat up and bruised, and he finds this guy, and this guy warns him before he kills himself that there's something dark, so much more happening, and you're like, intrigue. I'm interested. Let's find out what's going on.
Where's this going?
And you find out that there is this creature called the Dark Asher who is actually killing more people. It kills another fae who. You find out has some past history with Philo, and then it kills his. He was given up for adoption.
Philo was.
Mm-hmm. And kills the foster, the headmaster at the foster
orphanage.
Of the orphanage, yes. But then you also there's that. So there's this whole murder mystery with this big bad, but you also find out that this big bad is actually not. This creature was created and is being controlled by someone. So there's this whole who is controlling this creature thing. And then there's the whole story of Philo himself, who you find out is a half-breed. And he is part fae and part human, and he had his...
When he was a baby, they clipped his wings to try to give him a more normal life before they gave him up for adoption, I guess. So he never knew that he was fae, but he has the scars where his wings would have been, and he says he can feel like his wings are still there.
Right.
Kind of like when someone loses a limb and they have the phantom limb syndrome where they still feel the limb that they lost. So he can still feel the wings there, even though they're not there.
Then there's this whole story, this political story, which I think is going to be really a big part of the show, because they're making it a big part of the show, and I'm intrigued. I'm in. Yeah. So there's the Berkshire family, and the son, and the Berkshire is he's the chancellor, so he's like the head of the Berg political society, and there's definitely a divide in that political world where
because actually the chancellor's actually defending
the
mythical creatures that are coming into the world. He wants them to have a safe place. He doesn't want the people, he wants them to have like as much rights as the humans living in the Berg. And
to a certain extent.
He doesn't want them being treated the way they're being treated right now.
Right, exactly. And then the other people want them gone. They want them out of the city. And so that's that divide. But then you find out that his son is frequenting, what's the word?
Frequenting.
There you go, frequenting. Carnival Row. Carnival Row is like this seedy part of town where you would have whorehouses and bars. And
it's where all the mythical creatures are forced to live.
And so he's frequenting this whorehouse, and
It's only fays.
It's only fays, and he gets kidnapped. But then you find out who kidnapped him.
His own mother.
And so you find out his mother has a a game plan going on.
And she's not human. There's no way.
No,
they don't tell you what she is.
No.
They're like alluding to it, but she has that weird like witch woman who guides her family, and she definitely something's going on there.
There's definitely something going on there.
Going on with her.
And we thought for a minute that she might be controlling the Dark Asher, but we've ruled that out for now. I think.
No, I said she could be.
No, I don't think she is.
I think she might be.
No, because we talked about it last night. I forgot why. I had a good fact of why she wouldn't be doing it. But it's still, it's just... she's controlling her husband. Like, 100%.
Oh, because you were saying that you thought that why would she care about Philo and his story, and I said that she could be doing it because she doesn't want her son to not be the greatest man if she heard that Philo was going to be.
Right. True. But still, like, it's such a great story. She's not right. That's fine. But, and then there is there anything else going on? I think
we didn't really talk about Philo's personal story in detail that much. You just kind of said that it's the one woman who got killed by the Dark Asher is a connection to him, but...
So, the episode 5 is all about Philo for the most part. I mean,
that was also the most boring episode. It was like...
It was
they really dragged it out. They wanted to tell you Philo's backstory, but it was like...
very long-winded.
Very, like, just... They could have done it in 20 minutes, and it was just an hour of him, like that dark, brooding, like, looking off to the side and having a moment, and then he was like, oh, I remember this. And then it was like...
Is that what we just had? One of those 5 minutes that took too long?
Yes! Thank you! Now you guys know what we lived through.
But his kid... I mean, I guess my whole point is, like, this show is doing a great job of making sure that you're intrigued, and it's more than just one storyline throughout the show. It's like...
It's definitely going in a different direction than you first thought of watching, like, the first couple of episodes.
Oh, 100%.
You're like, oh, this is where this is going. And then by, like, the 4th or 5th episode, you're like, what is happening? Where is this going?
And there's so many things going on. You're like, you want to keep watching because there's so many storylines going on. It's like, I want to know. And that's a good show.
Yes, we keep watching it every night. We have other things to watch, and we're like, oh, should we clean the house? And we're like, we'll watch more Carnival Row.
Our kids can run around in dirt.
We'll clean later.
So yeah, that's my favorite part of the show. I mean, the acting for the most part is decent.
Who doesn't love Orlando Bloom?
The first episode, I did not love Orlando Bloom or Clara Delevingne, and I'm a big Clara Delevingne fan. But that first episode was a little rough to get through personally. But after that, show's on fire.
Yeah. It's an awesome show. Fire. It's a great show.
Yeah, I think is there anything else we want to talk about?
Did we talk about what we don't like? I don't think I have anything that I don't like. There's been episodes where they're like slower, but in general, there's not like... Yeah. I'm not like, oh, I wish they didn't do this, or they should have done this different with this character. Yeah. And I mean, we can't say that it's only because it's 5 episodes, because we watch other shows where we're like, by the 4th or 5th episode, we're like, this is... They shouldn't be going in this direction.
Something.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, this show is great. Like I said, the first episode wasn't the greatest for me. After that, this show is pure fire. Like, I am enjoying it so much. There's just so much to like about it. Like, the acting is great. The costumes.
The costumes, the animation, everything. Like, when they fly, it's not like, this doesn't look like this is happening. Like, it's done really well. It's a
really well done show. Like, special effects wise, it is on point. Like, there's no point where I was like, man, the compositing on that is terrible. Why is that like that? Or the costume looks like his horn's falling off. Or
no, they do a really good job with the Puck's horns. Like, they layer it like so it's like going all the way down to their eyes, and they do like it's like
it's so
you believe those people have horns growing out of them.
Yeah, and they have they walk on those hoof thingies.
Yeah, they kind of like push their hips out when they're walking, like they would if they had the bottom half of a horse. And they don't never break that. They're not like, oops, I walked normal for a minute.
Yeah, it is done so well. There's so many characters. Like, that's the thing. Like, this show, I guarantee is going to have a second season, because there's no way they're finishing any of these storylines in the end of season 1. Yeah. It's... Alright, so let's not talk too much longer, because we've talked a lot. We don't want to give...
People love to hear what we have to say.
We're basically telling you guys, this is a must-see show.
Oh, yeah. If you watch our other reviews and you see how much I love to dump on how things are terrible, because I won't have a problem with being mean. If you've done a terrible job, you should do a better job, because there's people out there who can obviously do a really good job, so follow them. So I don't think I had anything bad to say.
No, this show is on point. It's great. I am so excited to watch these last few episodes. We'll probably watch 1 or 2 tonight, watch the last one definitely this week, and hopefully next weekend
have another video.
We'll wrap that up.
Hopefully it's good things. Hopefully I'm not like super disappointed. I'm like, guys, they ruined my life.
I don't see that happening.
No,
Amazon's doing a great job with their shows.
They are.
I think this is our second Amazon show that we watched together.
I think so.
Amazon, you're crushing it so far, man.
I'm not disappointed. I'll keep watching.
Me too. All right, so that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. You guys know what to do if you guys like this episode.
Smash that like button.
And if you guys aren't subscribed,
Subscribe. Like, who's not subscribed?
subscribe. Oh yeah, did I hit 100 subscribers?
Oh my god, you did hit 100 subscribers.
What?
Is that not amazing, guys? How awesome is Bruce?
It's pretty freaking cool. I think half the subscribers are for you.
They all come to see like the different hairdos I do. Like, what is she wearing?
I don't know. What are you wearing?
It's a black shirt from Target.
Target. Who doesn't like Target? All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this episode. So we will see you guys next week.
On the next one.
On the next one.
I'm not messing that up twice. Peace.